So we're going to jump now to have a look at Albania and its role essentially as an incubation hub, as far as I can tell, for the New World Order, this new international technology-enabled rules-based system that we're being ushered into. We've spoken about it several times over the past couple of weeks, even, not predominantly to do with this. A proposed development on Sazan Island, which is just across from the heel of Italy, which Ivanka Trump, of all people, calls a new way to live, but which also just happens to contain 3,600 Soviet-era tunnels and hardened bunkers, and I suppose could potentially be described as a new Epstein-style island. I don't know. I mean, who knows what they...
Who knows?
Who knows what they want to get up to in this place. So a lot of this is centred around the Prime Minister of Albania, who's absolutely in the frame for the development of this proposal to redevelop Sazan Island. This is Edi Rama, who's the PM of Albania. He's a long-term political figure, been in the game for well over 20 years. There's been a lot of discussion, as I said, about his relationship with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and this $1.4 billion redevelopment of the 1,400-hectare Sazan Island, which up until very recently was essentially owned by the Albanian people, but has now been flogged off to a consortium of international investors. But what hasn't been discussed in the context of these developments is Rama's relationship with the supposed left wing of the international elite. So we've got the right wing with the Trumps and the Kushners, but the left wing, the Soros family in particular, are also heavily involved with Albania and with Rama personally. George Soros, through his Open Societies vehicles, ploughed $131 million plus into the country over the past 30 years. Alex Soros has maintained a very close personal relationship with Edi Rama. He calls him his brother in Tirana, and apparently Rama gave a speech at Alex Soros's wedding last year. Thick as thieves. Just a coincidence. But I find this incredibly striking, right? Because apparently, so we're told, the Trumps and the Soroses are on the opposite sides of the aisle, aren't they? They don't like each other, do they? It's the left and the right. They hate each other, don't they?
It is interesting that as society is increasingly divided and made antagonistic, one side against the other, there's supposedly a mirror image amongst the rich and the powerful, except when you really look behind the scenes, when you find them in bed together, often in an accurate sense. So,
sometimes literally, sometimes figuratively, yes.
Indeed.
And actually, this perfectly maps. If we can get this back on screen, that perfectly maps that left and right, the left and right side of this visual you can see in front of you, perfectly mapped to the left and right of the divide and rule that I was talking about earlier. So on the right, you've got the supposedly conservative, white nationalists of the Trump family, although they're certainly not acting in the best interest of the American people or the American nation right now. That's certainly the case. And then on the left-hand side, the supposed progressive, left-wing, liberal, open societies. We're all one global citizenry. I'm making up words as I go along, but you understand what I'm saying, right? But behind the scenes, these people are all circulating around each other and most notably in this instance around Edi Rama and Albania. And I think that's just quite an interesting exemplar, really, of what we're seeing play out globally, how it manifests at a local level.
Not just out of fun and a good glass of wine and good food in the sunshine, they are absolutely producing political policy which is adversely impacting on the world population. So
yes.
Very, very powerful people, very dangerously political people.
Yeah, certainly are. Interestingly, I just note this is from a Sam Williams video that I saw on YouTube the other day, but the Albanian crest, its sigil on the left-hand side there is the double-headed eagle, which is the exact same symbol for the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the 33rd degree.
Just a coincidence, Ben, I'd have to say.
One day you're going to say it was not a coincidence, Brian.
Well, the one thing I do know is that when we see all these images and the heraldry, we have to ask what it's about. If we don't understand it, somebody spent a huge amount of time and money to create it. So I think there's an onus on the public at large to understand what all of this symbology is about. We see it, of course, around the British royal family, not only in the costumes and the shields, but also in the pomp and the ritual amongst the services. But of course, the true nature of what's happening isn't ever brought to the public. And there's got to be a reason for that. Something's being hidden. It's a cult.
Quite literally, yeah, it is a cult. It's a cult information. We've been talking about Albania for quite some time. I did a search on the UK Column website yesterday, I think it was, just to see how we'd been talking about it. And I came across this video from AV8, which I'm guessing was 2018. It says so there, from Soros to Blair, which expands a bit on the relationship between Eddie Rama and Albania with Soros, and Soros is one of his favourites, Tony Blair.
And we've got to say to the audience, get onto the UK Column website. The link will be in the show notes, and have a look at this full presentation by Olsi Jazeksi. But this man's got up on the stage. His English was better than he thought. Everybody absolutely understood what he had to say. He'd got a sense of humour. He was talking some very, very fascinating about political information around Albania. And we've got a clip here just at the very start of what he says. By the time he'd finished these words, the audience couldn't wait to hear more from him as he described how Albania had been destroyed by its liaison with the European Union. But let's hear the introduction from Ian Crane and hear what Olsi has to say.
So it's a tremendous pleasure. He's come all the way from Tirana in Albania to be with us for the weekend. And it really is a tremendous pleasure to welcome him to the AV platform.
Hello, everybody. My name is Olsi. And as you already understand, I'm not a native English speaker, so I hope you'll pardon my French, as you say. And my presentation is today mainly about this nice guy, that he behaves himself as a supreme leader, or as a kind of His Majesty, in my home country, which is Albania. And this other guy is our present Prime Minister. So this is a picture from the year 2013, when Mr. Tony Blair got a new position in Albania as a chief advisor to our government. So, as you can understand, they are here in a cabinet meeting. I'll show you later on a picture with all our government ministers. And Mr. Blair is giving his holy fatwas, or since he's a Catholic, I would say his holy bullahs, religious verdicts to our government for obedience and compliance. So the title of my presentation is From Soros to Blair, Pillaging the Wealth of Nations. I'm going to explain what is going on with a number of nations in Eastern Europe, and not only Albania, and in a way to make you understand why we Albanians, Ukrainians, Romanians, and so forth, like so much to leave our beautiful home countries and come and invade your beautiful England, and Great Britain, by the way.
So there we are. It is a fantastic talk. People need to listen to understand the horrors of having Tony Blair helping to rebuild your country. But in that introduction, Olsi says the key thing. I'm going to tell you why people from my country, Albania and Eastern Europe, are leaving their countries in order to invade your country. And this is the key thing. If the young men involved in violence on the streets of Northern Ireland bothered to listen to this man's talk, they would start to understand who the actual enemy is, as opposed to burning some poor nurse out of her home in Northern Ireland. So really fantastic talk. The audience at that event that also spoke, the AV event, I think they were stunned really by the delivery, the clarity of his evidence and his arguments, and the beautiful way he put it across. So I have to say that. But if you say, why are all these people in the UK or in Western Europe? Because they've been driven out of their homelands. And here's somebody from Albania talking about how it was done.
With Blair as Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader.
Isn't that an extraordinary thing to hear?
Yeah.
Blair is Supreme Leader in Albania, and Edi Rama there, pictured in 2013, being talked about in 2018, still the Prime Minister, doing the bidding of Blair and everyone in his orbit.
Yes.
Apparently. I think that deserves some deeper exploration and maybe updating all of that within the context of everything that we've been talking about. And just to finish up, looking at what Edi Rama and the Albanian government are up to at the moment, this is Diela, which means the sun. And this is the Minister for Artificial Intelligence in Albania, who was born on January 19th, 25, with the goal of enhancing online services for citizens of all ages through voice, visuals and speed. Since January, Diela has served as the virtual assistant of the national platform, e-Albania. As Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Diela represents a bold step for Albania towards the institutionalization of advanced technologies, positioning the country at the forefront of innovation in the region and beyond. And AI is the Minister for Artificial Intelligence in Albania.
Correct. And Tony Blair, absolutely glowing praise and indeed effort to make this happen.
Yes.
This is demonic, in my opinion. I use that word absolutely for a reason. This is demonic, and Tony Blair, one of the individuals behind it.
Yeah, summoning the demons. And not just one, actually, many, as Edi Rama will now describe to us.
To share for first time that Diela is pregnant, and she's expecting 83 kids. Each kid for one member of our parliament. That will serve the MPs as an assistant, that will participate in the parliamentary sessions, that will keep record of everything that is happening, that will inform and will suggest to the MPs how to react, that will have all the knowledge, these kids will have all the knowledge of their mom about the EU legislation and everything. And just something that you would like very much as a Turk, when you would go for a coffee, because and we have much better coffee than in Germany, as you know. So the risk is that we go for the coffee and you forget to come back to work. When you come back, this kid will tell you what was being said when you were not there, and if your name was mentioned, and if you have to counterattack someone that mentioned you for the wrong reasons.
Well, I tell you what, as long as an AI, Ali Aslan, is not interviewing it.
Yeah, horrific. And I can imagine people who might see the clip of the UK column reporting that clip on its own, they think it's a joke, but this is not a joke, it's obscene. And this is what Tony Blair and other powerful individuals have been helping to create in Albania.